everybody. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. So for today's workout, our strength pieces are going to be focused on multi-angled isometric holds. So for part A, we have some lunge variations that we are going to do. The first thing we're going to do is take a lateral step out into position 3 o'clock. So we're going to hold this position for 5 seconds. We're going to hold the kettlebell in the goblet position. After we've completed 5 seconds, we're going to move the leg out to 5 o'clock. And then last position is 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock is the most difficult position. It's very important that we try to keep the other leg straight and we sit back as if we were going to sit onto a chair. So all of the weight is pretty much on that back leg. That means you will not be able to take a step as far out or as far away from the peg leg that you did with the other positions. So make sure you adjust according to your flexibility so that the whole foot stays on the floor and that you feel stable. So once you've done that, we're gonna repeat the whole process again, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, again for 2 more rounds. So again, in the KRAFTLETICS Level 1 classes, we're very much focused on building that strength. One of the best ways we can build strength is spending more time under tension. That means a whole lot of isometric holds. And today we are working on multi-angled isometrics. This is why we have all of these different leg positions or lunging positions, because in life and in sports that's going to be required of us. We're not always going to be able to do the same lunge all of the time, so it's important that we train those now. We spend a lot of time under tension and we start to build the strength and the stability in those positions. So the second exercise that you're going to do is catching and throwing in a glute bridge or a BX glute bridge. Whenever you see BX in front of something, that means that we're going to be doing some catching and throwing. So what you're going to do is you can start with 2 feet flat on the ground. You're going to lift your hips up into a glute bridge. Remember to try to keep that posterior tilt. That means you don't want too much of an arch in your lower back. If it's possible, lift one leg off of the floor so that you're doing a single-legged glute bridge. And then you're going to throw and catch something against the wall. It's important here that you start off with an object that is easy for you to catch first so that you can keep the form and the position of the glute bridge nice and clean. So you can throw a volleyball, a basketball at the wall if you're very comfortable with that. Then you can start to throw tennis balls against the wall. It's very important for the visual activation or the visual aspect of the training that you keep your eye on the object the entire time. So really focus on trying to see letters on the ball, especially if you're using our letter tennis balls. And if you're using a basketball or volleyball, I would recommend that you also write letters with a permanent marker on them, that you watch the letter go into your hand and the ball make contact with your hand so that you ensure that you are doing this visual pursuit and this visual convergence, which is adding an extra level of effectiveness to the stability exercise. So for the second strength portion, we have push-ups. So for the level 1 class, we have 2 positions in which we are going to put the hand. Again, today's focus is on multi-angled isometrics. So we have one hand that is positioned in a normal push-up position, and the other hand, we're gonna point the fingers out. So the hands look like this. So that's the first isometric hold phase. And for the second isometric hold phase, we're gonna turn the hands in like this, the same hand. So the reason being is that in real life and in sports positions, especially if you're playing a contact sport like American football, very rarely do you always get the perfect hand setup position that we practice in push-ups or bench pressing. Very often when your opponent is moving, then you're going to have to adjust your hand position and you get into these funny, awkward joint positions. The same thing in real life. If you're climbing under something, if you're trying to pick yourself up off the floor, you're never really going to do a perfect burpee or a perfect push-up. So we're trying to get these joints into positions where we can safely train them, make the joints and the muscles around them stronger by holding these isometrics in a safe environment, in good joint positions, and improve our stability there first. So we're gonna hold each position, this position, for 8 planking poker chip touches. So at the same time that you're holding this push-up position, you're gonna be calling out colors to your partner. So red, green, blue, etc. So you're holding this half push-up position, or a quarter push-up, or a 3/4 push-up, depending on which portion of a push-up you would like to strengthen. You're calling out colors at the same time to your partner. Your partner is in a plank position. Here you can see that we have a cone and a ball on top of each person's sacral area, so that it ensures that the pelvis is stable during the plank the entire time. So if you have wobbling or you're starting to twist a little bit in your plank, the ball is just gonna fall over and you know that your pelvic position is not that stable. So you're gonna call out 8 colors to your partner in the first hand position. Once they've completed 8 reps, you're gonna turn your hand so that the fingers point inward, and you're gonna call out the colors another 8 times. So you're basically gonna be holding these isometric holds for 16 poker touches from your partner. And then after that, you're gonna switch. So for the last part of our training session, we have the conditioning part. In the KRAFTLETICS Level 1 classes, the conditioning is much more focused on basic endurance training. So in German, we say Grundlagen der Ausdauer. So a lot of the exercises are focused around skipping, rowing, running, and a little bit of agility work at the same time. So the focus is really on laying a foundational aerobic capacity. And we like to integrate a lot of neurological aspects as well. So for the first part, we have skipping, and for the skipping portion, I really want you to focus on your breathing technique, okay? So finding a breathing rhythm. So you can start off, something very comfortable for most people is 2 hops for the inhale, 2 hops for the exhale. Sometimes it's more comfortable for people to have a longer exhalation, so you can try 2 hops, inhale, 4 hops, exhale. So you should always try to breathe in through your nose and out through your nose if it's possible. If it's not possible, then breathe out through your mouth, but try really to do the inhale through your nose. So if you're skipping, it might sound like this. So this kind of rhythmic breathing pattern really helps to engage the parasympathetic nervous system. We're not inducing a hyperventilative breathing pattern, that we're not having too much sympathetic tone that is unnecessary during the workout. So it's very important that we maintain good control of our breathing rhythm. Then we have, for the second part, 2 minutes of rowing. Now for the rowing aspect, we have a little bit of vestibular training that's being integrated. So you can start off nice and slow. Start off first with turning your head to the left and rowing for 2 strokes. Then you can turn your head to the right, row again for 2 strokes. Once you've got that down, you can try to continuously row and move your head at the same time. Now you might have to row at a slower pace in order to coordinate that, but that's completely okay. So if you would like to row a little bit faster, then you can just keep your head to one side, do 2 to 4 strokes, and then rotate to the other side. Now remember, not only is this a vestibular activation while you're doing conditioning, which makes the conditioning so much more effective, but it's also very life relevant. So if you think about rowing on a lake or rowing in a kayak, very rarely are you gonna look straight ahead the entire time, especially if you're partner kayaking or something like this. And we've all had the situation where, hey, maybe I'm on a bike and then I'm trying to look at if a car is around the corner or if a pedestrian is around the corner. We've all had the experience where we turn our head a little bit, but somehow we also turn the bike a little bit, and that's not what we want. So we want a very stable head and neck position as we are doing our conditioning exercises. So for the last part of the conditioning piece, we have a minute of lateral shuffling. So you're gonna go and shuffle sideways, touch the wall. Once you've touched the wall, you're gonna turn your body and then shuffle back to the line. So every time you're at the wall, you're gonna turn your body. What's important about this exercise is that you maintain your gaze fixed straight ahead at the wall. Preferably, you have a very clear visual target on the wall. As you can see in our gym, we have some squares painted on the wall. Not every person had a square, unfortunately, but it's important to try to find a spot on the wall that you are looking at and keep your gaze fixed. So what another important aspect of our training is that not only do these head turns and body turns have a vestibular activation, but they also activate different reflexes. So in this particular exercise, we're trying to activate a cervical colic reflex, the reflex that helps to keep your head stable as your body is rotating under it. Now, it's important that we start to think about these different reflexes and integrate them into our training, because these reflexes are very important for our posture, very important for our stability and overall health. That is the level 1 KRAFTLETICS class workout for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you tried some of the exercises with your clients or in your group training, and let me know how it goes.
Noch 1, 2, 3, 4 und dann gibt ihr mir alle 2 Klatscher auf 3. 1, 2, 3. Schönes Wochenende. Dankeschön.
Danke euch.